And today we're going to start with the Copper Lounge building collapse that happened in December. That tragedy brought together a lot of agencies in the city, individuals, community, and the businesses in that area. And to talk about the response, we have Sioux Falls Fire Rescue Chief Jim Sedaris and Regan Smith join us. Hi, guys.
Hi. Hi.
Let's go back to the day of the collapse. And what is that moment like to know that you've had this disaster happen and the training that led up to it?
Well, I think over the years, the city has adopted the incident command system. We've done a lot of training, exercising, a lot of planning. We have a lot of specialized capabilities, such as that urban search and rescue. And I think that training just kind of kicks in at the time, and you just kind of go to work.
Have you had training in the past for building collapse?
I'll let Jim
Yeah,
talk to
we
that.
do. Our USAR people train in several different areas. One is building collapse. USAR, Urban Search and Rescue, looks at building collapse, underground rescue, high-rise rescue. They're pretty much the point of the spear for a lot of those unique things that do happen.
How many agencies come together, departments within the city, but then I'm assuming outside of kind of the municipal agencies, but
on this incident, obviously, police, fire were big, Sioux Falls Public Works, many divisions under there. The state of South Dakota supported us with Highway Patrol, Homeland Security, Emergency Management, Minnehaha County Law Enforcement, Emergency Management, and the Red Cross, Avera McKinnon, and then obviously the downtown businesses, downtown Sioux Falls. Just a lot of people came together, probably too many to mention.
And this is, I mean, I remember where I was when I walked into a building and was going to a meeting and they said, did you hear what happened downtown? And everyone had their phones up or their computers up and were watching it live. What element does that bring that the public can watch all of this happening as it's going on too?
Well, obviously public information is huge in this type of thing. We want to communicate with the media and with the general public. They want to know. We want to keep them safe, keep them informed as much as we can. So under that incident command system, we do have a public information officer process or function. And that was very big in this incident. A lot of focus on it, not only here in Sioux Falls, but it became a national event that day. So we've got to address those and communicate as much as we can in a timely manner. And with social media now, the game has changed, and the city has kept up with that and communicates via that. So I think everybody can know real time what's going on.
What is the mental state as rescue crews go into a situation like this?
I think the biggest thing is our firefighters throughout the department really have to control their emotions. So when they go in, they have to really get patterns to chaos, because you walk in and you're saying, holy smokes, I've never seen a three-story building collapse. So they have to really get those patterns of what's happening, figure out really quickly, prioritize all the things that need to be done, and then control those emotions. So if you look, and we didn't know, a lot of us, I didn't know that it was live time. So when you look at our people on scene, there's not a lot of running, screaming, yelling. You really have to get your emotions under control, because that's a big problem. So we teach our firefighters, it's called stress inoculation, how to work under extreme pressure, think all the time, because the lead people, the commanders or the incident commanders of those scenes, are putting people in the spots where they could be hurt. And so we have to have really cool heads. And that's part of it, as we look for that in our people. And especially as you move up in the food chain, we like to have that clear thinking under a lot of pressure.
In a day like that, I would imagine for anyone responding is extremely stressful.
Correct.
Then do you debrief after too, to talk to everybody and look at even beyond just the rescue crews specifically, but how did we respond?
Right, we do a couple of things. One, we do critical incident stress debriefing. So we bring all the people in, including public works, police officers, and then we actually talk about how do you feel about how things went, more of getting some of those big issues out, not about the operation necessarily, but how things went for you personally. And we would do those on a lot of different calls. I've been through probably hundreds of those. So it's not just the big calls, because sometimes what might affect Regan might not affect me, and what might affect me might not affect Regan. So we bring everybody into those. We do those pretty much immediately after, as soon as we can. And then depending on the situation, we'll do them again 24 to 48 hours. And then after that, then we start looking at the We call it the post-incident analysis. Now we start taking apart that call decision by decision, layer by layer, to say, okay, not only what went really good, but what can we improve upon in the future? And then those will go into our lessons learned. And with this call, this will probably be a national lessons learned, because this just doesn't happen very often.
What would you say, for both of you, from your perspective, were the big lessons, the takeaways?
I think incident command system, it works, and we've put a lot of effort in that in the last 20 years, and it paid off. I think public information is just, again, we're under the spotlight. We need to be able to address that and handle that, have systems in place. And then that the investments we've made in that urban search and rescue program definitely paid off. It's not used very often, but when we need it, we know it's there, and we have highly trained people and equipment there to handle it.
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think when you look at, sometimes we talk about different things in the fire service or the life in general, and sometimes the difference between Chicken Little and a visionary can be one call. And when we were talking about urban search and rescue, a lot of people say there's not a demand for it. When are we ever going to use building collapse? But we've had people trained for it, and one of our people, Travis Tom, was a battalion chief at the time, was overseeing the pile operation. He's gone to all the schools, and you say, well, will that ever be used? That one call made all the difference. That training and background and investment of people and resources and training can pay off in a critical incident like that. So that investment, some people don't realize until you can't generate trained firefighters on the scene. That all has to happen ahead of the call, and that's critical for us.
Regan, let's also talk about that private-public partnership, because while we have public groups and public servants that are coming and responding, this business is surrounded by private businesses.
It is, and you know, it affected downtown as far as traffic. You know, we wanted to make sure the public was safe too, so we asked them to stay away for a while, and then, you know, we definitely tried to communicate again with downtown Sioux Falls, the impacted businesses, the ones that were directly impacted, or the surrounding businesses. So, you know, we worked very closely during the response, but then during that recovery period too, to make sure they understood what was safe, what was not safe, and then how can we recover, you know, as not only as a community, but as a business community too.
And they were active, I think some of them, even in that day, supporting.
Yes, I mean, their businesses were impacted, but they were stepping up to feed and support the responders, to give us a place to warm up, or coffee, cupcakes, food, you name it. They were there. I mean, it was overwhelming, that response. It was really too much. We ended up, you know, slowing that down, but it was great. That's the kind of place we were.
And what does the response from all aspects say about where we live? What does it say about Sioux Falls?
Well, I think it says the people in Sioux Falls will come together in a crisis, and they're willing to help and donate whatever. I mean, there were people that probably lost a lot of money giving us pizzas and food and everything that we needed. It's just the generosity in a crisis it says a lot about the people of the Midwest, and in Sioux Falls in particular. We have great people. Sioux Falls is growing rapidly, but the people coming here are exceptional, and we saw that they'll pretty much really rise to any challenge, and we needed some help, and the construction people that just showed up said, hey, we can do this. It was quite amazing that everyone just came together.
Well, thank you to both of you, and to the folks that you all work with for their response, and of course always thinking of the families that were involved, and those Ethan McMahon's family and Emily Fodness, and for all that they went through. But so thankful for the response that you guys have had and the cooperation that's been built. Mm-hmm.